Well, today we're going to do a how-to video. It's how to make this setup. And it's a giant bluefin tuna rig here, obviously. And I'm going to make this ring. I'm going to weld a ring. And we got this this split ring here to change the lure out. And we got a Mustad. It's a 6/0 jig assist green flash. We're going to attach it via barrel swivel here. You can kind of see it there. And that's our rig. So what we're doing is we're going to keep it separate from the jig. Keep the hook separate, because if we have it attached to this jig, it might get the tuna might use this as a leverage to get the hook out. So I'm going to put it on the line directly like that via this welded stainless steel ring. So we'll show you how to do that. So first I get a ring, and I just use the old ones from like jigs before. Yeah, I know some people say, oh, why don't you get a new one? But yeah, I don't have this heavy wire one, so my other ones are a little bit lighter wire, and this is kind of a heavy one. Anyways, so we're going to put our ball bearing swivel on here, and this is an old ball bearing swivel as well. You can see it by the paint's all roasted. Anyways, then we're going to crimp this together. We're going to put a split ring on here, but first we're going to weld it. So check it out. Alright, so I'm going to clean it the best I can. It still has the old brass solder on there. Good enough. And then I put some tape on my pliers so I don't scratch it up. And then you get your crimping pliers like this. And just kind of made it like that. Make sure if you go over. So it looks pretty good. Alright, it's got a pretty tight fit. I'm going to put it in here like this. I like to put it down because just use gravity as our guide and keep it like that so it doesn't slip. This is one of my tools I use. It's just one of those, how you say those, it's just a pointer poker. It's metal, and you have to use this stay silver. This is the best stuff. The black brazing. It's expensive too. It's like 30 bucks this container, but it lasts forever. Mix it up a little, and if this stuff dries out, which it does, you just add a little water. Just put some flux on there, and it's kind of gritty. It's like mud. This is the best stuff. Make sure and just lather it on there. Alright. And then next I use my Stay Silv 1/16, 1.6 millimeter. Now you're supposed to use this thin stuff. I couldn't find it on eBay, so, or Amazon. I mean, you might be able to find it, the thin stuff, which is more accurate because it's thin. But I just got this thicker stuff, and it does the job. Alright, so you stretch it out. Make sure your swivel doesn't get melted till like that. Stretch that out, and I guess you're ready. You get your benzomatic torch like this. Make sure you don't burn anything in the background, and here we go. Alright, so here we go. You gotta have gloves because you hold this thing and this thing will get hot before you know it. And I burned my finger too many times, so you gotta wear gloves. This one's fine. So you get your benzomatic torch and you just heat it up. Here we go. You just gotta get that thing red hot. It's gonna drip like that. You get it all red hot. And that whole thing has to be just spicy hot. And you touch it on there. Right. I'd like to add a little bit more. And just heat that thing up. And you pray that it works right. And it looks like it did. Otherwise you gotta redo it again. That thing has to be red hot. This thing's already getting hot. So make sure you have a place to put it because it'll just melt everything. I think we're ready to cool it. So we're gonna take it out like this. And just take that out. Like that. And like that. We're gonna run it to the sink and cool it. I mean, you can have your cup of water, but there you have it. Looks like it's welded. Alright, so it's still wet. I'm gonna double check it. That looks pretty good. Looks pretty darn good. Sand it a little and get rid of that extra flux. It's silver solder, so this stuff is really hard. And yeah, it's beautiful to see. You can reuse it, reuse your rings. It's a little off, but you know, okay, there's a little black there. No worries, but you know that under that bubble there, it's solid. You can test it too. Okay, so next up, you're going to need one of these. It's a solid ring, and your split rings. I use the owner number 7s. Big enough, and you can interchange the jigs if you have a split ring tool. So these are essential. It's a split ring tool, and it helps you open these things up. So put that on there. Right, this goes on your leader. Alright, so you won't worry about that. You put this on your ring as well. I'm sure you know how to use these. This ring's already been stretched out a bit. But they're stainless steel. So throw that on there. There. Right, so your jig goes on there, and then you're gonna crimp your main line on here, your leader. Okay, so here's my leader. This is I don't know, it's just some old mono I have laying around. And you need some sleeves too. So I'm using the brass sleeves, the black brass ones, because I have enough of them. Should use aluminum with mono and brass with cable, but it should work. You need a good crimping tool as well. This is a cheap one. And then of course you need some a spring connector, spring chafing protector that fits like that. And my chafing springs are Iserline, so I use a bigger eye. It's a 1.8 millimeter. These 1.4s are too small, so I got the 1.8 e-bike. It's awesome. Alright, so you put that on there, and then you're going to just prep it like this, and you're going to put this through the ring like that. Right, like this. Of course you don't put mono and then heat it up and try to do this ring, because obviously mono is going to melt. You like how shiny it is? That's silver solder. It's got real silver, that's why it's expensive. Alright, so you put that on there. I think this is like 150, 200 pound line, mono. Yeah, why don't you use fluorocarbon? Yeah, because I'm the low budget fisherman, but I don't want to spend 200 bucks on fluorocarbon. It's called the budget fisherman. Use what you got. Otherwise it collects dust. So you melt the end like that. Keep your torch around. Gonna mushroom it out. Gotta make sure it's cools before you touch that mono. Double check. Pointy side down. Pointy side down. Like that. Oh, you can also get a hoochie skirt and put it over that. And that protects this thing from banging around on the jig. And I'm going to use this heavy mama. I'm going to try something new. And when you do these jigs, it's good to put a little, just put an empty split ring on here. Why? Can you hear it? That's why. Because the fish can hear it. They have good hearing in water. Alright, so let's take this off here. Alright, same thing. This is a rock cut jig, believe it or not. But boy, those, when the captain says those are they're at 250 feet. Get down there fast. This thing will get it down there fast. It's old jig, and it's glow in the dark. But oh boy, this thing will get them, I bet. Try it out. What's the fun of fishing? The preparation. Alright, so here we go. We're gonna close this up. Gently close it up so it doesn't scratch. You can feel it just butts up against that sleeve, and you just tighten it up. Alright, feels good. Ooh, there's a little bit of there, see how nice and clean that looks. You get your crimp like that, the crimping tool. And you're gonna just crimp it just before the end, because you don't want to crimp it where you get what they call a crotch break. You want to just get it barely at this end there. And then I like to use the biggest one first, so I don't get any sharp edges. Right, make sure it's tight. Oh, it's not tight. Not like that. Here we go. And then just gently close it. Just enough where it's tight. You don't want to just get all your force and smash it. Okay, you see how that is? That looks wonderful, huh? I'm sure it'll get a couple 100-pounder. And then you go on the other side too. Same thing. You don't crimp it on the edge. Otherwise you're gonna make like this knife edge on it. Just a little bit before. I learned it from spearfishing. Right, like that. Right, just tight. You don't want to smash it down like so much where it pinches the line. That looks pretty good. And then once in the middle, like that. On the biggest setting on this tool. Feel free to kind of just work your way up there. I think that's pretty tight. It looks pretty good. I don't think that's going anywhere. You can pull on that thing and that really. If you're gonna get big fish, you know, I think if you're gonna be up 5 hours on a fish, that's just too long. You should be able to pull that thing up within an hour, and this should hold. It should hold. It's definitely gonna hold. So we're gonna check the length of this leader. I usually just kind of eyeball it. We're at about. Alright, we're about almost 50 inches. 50 inches. That's about 44 feet. About 4 foot leader. You don't need it that long. So anyways, I got all my stuff here. I got crimps. Here's some brass ones. I would use aluminum. These are too small. They're just too small for this. Yeah, let's see. Oh, well, it might fit. I'll just keep it the same. Alright, so I got the brass. It should fit. Ah. Alright, it fit. And of course you're going to need your sleeve protectors. Just grab one out of here. throw that on there. It helps if you kind of angle it. It just, this thing is like, so it's like a perfect fit. So there you go, there. And then you put this thing on because I'm going to attach it to a ball bearing swivel on my main line, and then that's going to be attached to my braid. So I got a ball bearing swivel, and then I got my braid, the ball bearing swivel. Give yourself some space. Don't burn your fingers. Just mushroom the end. Wait till it cools. Alright, and then cinch it down. Now you gotta mushroom it because it's just your added protection. And actually you can just leave it like that. I heard like these guys, these spear fishermen would get fish, and since they mushroomed it wouldn't slip. It was just like that. So actually crimping is just kind of an extra precaution. So again, I put it like on the biggest setting, and again just to the end there. Make sure it's tight. You don't want any slack in it. All right, just hold it there. So once, and then over to the end, like that. Make sure you're not at the end, at the exact end. Just want like a little bit, just a millimeter. Crimp that. And crimp the middle. And there you have it. So this goes to a ball bearing swivel and a snap on the end of your main line, and then you have braid tied to the snap. You have 4 feet of this 200-pound stuff. This is usually like pre-dawn, gray light fishing. You know, tuna don't care. And then you have your rig like this. Oh, of course. There we go. You gotta get your mustad right there. But first, you're gonna put this hoochie skirt on it. So if you're a hoarding fisherman like me, you get a variety of hoochie skirts. Ooh, that one looks good. Let's go in the dark. I don't know, just pick something that's good. You got glow in the dark, more power to you. I'll just use this green one over here. That one's too hard. Blue. Oh, so we got some greens here. There's one. Alright, so we're just going to make that fit on over your ball bearing swivel. And I put that on there just to kind of protect the swivel from banging up on the jig and messing up my pretty jig. Alright, so I'm just going to cut the tip off your hoochie skirt there so it fits. Just a little bit. You don't want to cut too much off, then it's going to squeeze this on here like this. And we're going to put it over the end of it like that. That's why it helps to have one of these things. You can just gently pull it over it. Right there. So just kind of straighten that out. Should be fine. Whatever. Okay, there. So you pull the skirt over like that. And you get your mustad, trusty mustad. Big old tuna hook on there like that. Okay. And you're just going to simply thread it over like that. Put it over this thing. Hopefully it'll just go over this skirt without messing it up too much. Like that. Alright. Oops. There. And then put that over this. Like that. Then you're done. Like that. There's another leader. And then you can just interchange the jigs on here, whatever you please. There you go. You can cut the skirt if you don't think it's too long, but hey, it looks kind of cool. Tuna don't care. They're just chickens. You got a brain as big as a pea. They just work on instinct. They do have sharp eyes. But again, you're fishing at night, so this heavy leader doesn't matter. Just put this on there, and you're done. Alright, so once again, you gotta use a good crimping tool. Put that on there, like that. What is this thing? I think it's a 12 ouncer. 12 ounce tuna jig. It's a rock hot jig, actually. There you go. And that looks awesome, doesn't it? See, so when the tuna hits it, bam, right? It's like, and there you got it. And you can pull on this thing and it ain't going nowhere. Yeah. Simple as that. And there you have. And over here, you just clip it to a ball bearing swivel on the end of your main line. You're good to go. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks. Like and subscribe.